This is Jeff Cowan coming to you from Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk with my weekly podcast entitled Write Service, Write Your Own Paycheck, The Path to Making $100,000 a year when writing service in the automotive industry today, because 20% of you are watching today are doing just that. You're making six figures or more, which means 80% of you are not. So the 80% that are not, keep listening to me, keep coming back to this podcast, and I'll show you how to make six figures, because it can be done if you want to put your mind to it. Those of you that are watching this that are making over six figures, keep watching. I'll show you how to make that number even bigger. Okay? Now, I got a great meeting for you here today, and I decided on this topic the way I always do. I pay attention to your emails, your texts, and your telephone calls and see what's on your mind. And right now, here's what's on everybody's mind. It's summertime. Now, most of the time, in most areas of your life, when you announce that it's summertime, everybody gets excited because the days get longer, the sun seems to be brighter, the temperatures are up, and it's when you go out and you enjoy life, right? But if you're in the service industry, many people hate the summer because this is where you get a significant, in most areas of the country, significant increase of business. Why? Because the temperatures are so hard on cars, there's people traveling, and so the advisor out there that's writing 15 repair orders a day all of a sudden sees themselves writing 18, 19, 20, some of you as many as 25, and it just causes a lot of brain damage, right? Get done at the end of the day and you don't even know if you want to go on because it's that hard. Well, here's what I want you to do. If you find yourself being overwhelmed or feeling overwhelmed right now because you're writing service and things are going crazy, take a deep breath. It's summer. Just because the business has increased, the number of people walking in the door has increased, it doesn't mean that you need to stress out. It doesn't mean the job needs to be any more stressful or any less stressful than it is any other time of the year. Relax. Okay, I've got the solution here for you, okay? And the big message that I'm going to give you here today is you can't change the reality of what's going on. You can't change the reality and the situation of what's going on and what you can deliver. So stop panicking, right? So let's talk about some solutions. I got a simple three-step solution for you. Step number one, if you're feeling overwhelmed because it's summer, you got this big influx of business, you got all these big customers coming in, you got more customers than you're used to seeing coming in. Here's the solutions. Number one, look at the long-term plan of what you're doing. One of the biggest mistakes that I see is that people get this big influx of business, and what they do is they try to become everything to everybody, and you can't. And what they start doing is they start shortcutting everybody. Since I have more people coming into the shop, the number of technicians didn't increase. The number of hours we have available to repair cars didn't increase. So what do? We start giving up. We start shortcutting. We start not telling customers everything they need to know. We just start doing what they want when they come in. We stop doing our walkarounds. We stop making recommendations. We stop doing multi-point inspections. And so what happens is our sales penetration drops off, right? Because we're not telling customers what they need. Now, and you know, it's an easy trap to get caught in because, hey, I'm writing 20 customers, but I'm not making any more money. I'm making about the same amount of money if I was writing 15. Why? Because you're not telling everybody everything they need. Why? Because there's not the hours in the shop, right? That's not the way to go. Look at the long-term picture. What makes people happy? What makes people happy is when you give them full service. And full service is full service no matter what's going on. I mean, if you go to Starbucks and you walk in the front door and there's 25 people in line, and you go to the next Starbucks and you walk in the front door and there's 3 people in line, when it comes time to your turn to talk to the person behind the counter, they're not going to do anything different. They're not going to rush your drink any quicker. It takes a certain amount of time to make each one of those drinks, and you have to decide when you walk in the door, am I willing to wait for the first 24 people in front of me to get handled and get handled the right way so when I get up there I get the same service, or is it too overwhelming and I go someplace else or maybe to another location? Now, I'm not suggesting here you walk your people out the front door, but you can't shortcut your system. If your system is that you get up from behind your desk, you walk out on your service drive, and you greet people, you keep doing that. If your system is, and it should be, that you're going to ask diagnostic questions and trying to uncover what their concerns are so you can direct them to the right factory trained or ASC certified technician, then that doesn't change. If your system is, and it should be, that you're going to walk around a car, you're going to point things out, you're going to make a 6-step benefit-based presentation, you're going to talk to your customer about multi-point inspections and what's going to happen once they get in the shop, and if your system says that you set your customer up for what realistically is what's going to happen in the time frame, you don't stop doing that. Think long term. Don't sacrifice your permanent customer base because you get a few extra people coming in. This is what we do. This is how we do it. No matter what time of year you come in, no matter what time of day you come in, no matter what the circumstances are, this is our process and this is how we get people written up. You do not shortcut, okay? You do not shortcut. So step number 2. All right, again, think of the long-term thing here, okay? Step number 1, think of long-term. Don't sacrifice your client base just because you're busy. You stand tall, you stand firm, and you do what you know is most successful. Because again, if you don't tell customers what's going on with their car, and you don't tell them what they need, and they don't buy it, the car will not perform to the level that they expect. If it doesn't perform to the level they expect, you won't get the survey score that you're looking for. They will not come back to you, and you're going to lose everything. So stay the course. That's step number 1. Step number 2, expectations, 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 expectations. Just because there's more people coming in doesn't mean that you're going to get anything done any faster. It takes what it takes to repair a car. It takes what it takes to do a service. Now, I know you want to push your people, and you want to make sure that all your technicians and all your support staff has a snap in their step. You don't want them to slow down, but it is what it is. And telling customers anything different than what it is only going to disappoint them. All you're doing is taking the disappointment and you're spreading it out. Expectations, 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 expectations. Now, what do I mean? You have to tell your customer, based on the information they're giving you, what the realistic time frames are, what's realistically likely to happen here today. Okay? Now, we've talked about this in other podcasts. It starts when you get them on the telephone before they ever get here. Mr. Customer, now that we've established your check-in time for 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, let me take a few minutes here and explain to you exactly what's going to happen when you get here. First and foremost, you want to be here as close to your check-in time as you can, because getting here early means you'll have to wait, and getting here late means you could lose your place in line. Once you do arrive and 9 o'clock arrives, your service advisor, your expertly trained service advisor, will be ready for you with all the information you just gave me. They're going to go over that information to make sure that I wrote down everything correctly, make sure that I understand what their concerns are, and to see if anything needs to be added to the list. Plan on that taking a few minutes. Once they're done with that, your factory trained or your expertly trained service advisor is then going to walk around your vehicle with you and do a quick visual inspection. So if they see anything out of the ordinary, we can discuss it, make a decision on it while you're standing here. Once that's done, based on what we see and what we talk about, we'll determine who's best to look at your vehicle. Once it's determined which one of our expertly trained technicians is the best one, we'll take a look at their schedule, and that will dictate when your vehicle's going into the shop. So now I've set the expectation for what's going to happen when they get here. I don't stop doing that just because it's summer and it's busy. I continue to do that. Then the next morning when they get there, that's the first thing I repeat to them. And if they didn't have a scheduled check-in time, you're going to tell them this anyway. Mr. Customer, I'm glad that you're here. Now that you're here, let me explain to you what's going to happen now that you're here. First thing I'm going to do is go over all the information you gave us on the telephone a couple of days ago and make sure it was written down correctly, make sure I understand it, make sure I can understand exactly what your concerns are. If they didn't have a check-in time scheduled, you basically say the same thing. Mr. Customer, now that you're here, let me explain to you how we're going to get your vehicle checked in and how it's going to move through our facility today. All right? First and foremost, I'm going to ask you a series of questions so I can uncover what it is your vehicle's doing so I can make sure it gets to the right and correct, expertly trained technician. Once we do that, we will then walk around your vehicle and do a quick visual inspection. Once that's done, based on what we see and what we discuss, we'll determine who's best to look at your vehicle, and once that's determined, we'll then look at their schedule, which will dictate approximately when your vehicle is going to go into our state-of-the-art facility. Okay? Expectations, expectations, expectations. You tell them the whole way. And then, this is extremely important because this is where the heat comes from. This is where you get in trouble. Once you've done all of that and you've got the information, you give them realistic expectations on how things are likely to play out during their visit. Now, whether that visit's today and it's going to be completed today, or it's going to take you 3 or 4 days, you tell them. I don't care what it is. Now, most of the time, it's simply going to be this. Mr. Customer, I want you to let you know, based on the information you just given me, that there's a 50% chance we'll be able to get this taken care of. Because what happens is sometimes we get in there, we find that everything's exactly as we planned, we're able to get it diagnosed, prepared, and back to you by the end of the day. But 50% of the time we get in there and we discover it's going to be a little bit more than we thought, we don't have a needed part in stock, or maybe a part's on back order. That would mean that you need to leave the vehicle overnight and or come back and pick it up and bring it back when the part arrives. Unfortunately, I won't know where we stand until we get your vehicle in our state-of-the-art facility and our expertly trained technician gets the opportunity to look at it. Mr. Customer, based on the information you've given me, it's 9 o'clock now. I see, based on the schedule of the expertly trained technician, your vehicle entering our shop sometime around 11 o'clock. Let's give them about an hour to hour and a half to get it properly diagnosed, meaning you can expect a telephone call from me between 12:15 and 12:45 with an update on the status and findings and where we stand at that point in time. I mean, tell them the reality of the situation, even if you have to say something like this. Mr. Customer, now that we got your vehicle checked in, now that I know what it is that you're looking for, and now that I know what it is you need, I want to let you know the best person to look at your vehicle is this person over here, or the best department's that one over there. I can tell you they're completely booked for today, so it's likely your vehicle will not even be entering our state-of-the-art facility until tomorrow or the next day or the day after that or whenever it is. Not giving customer realistic expectation causes heat, because and people say, well, why do you do that right at the write-up? Because by doing it at the write-up, what happens is I allow that customer to make the decision. Just like when you go into a Starbucks and there's 25 people in line, you know that you're going to be in there for at least a half hour. You can make the decision. Do I have the half hour to stand here in line and get that cup of coffee, or do I just say no coffee this morning and go about my business? But you get to make that decision. By giving the customer the information right now, they get to make the decision. Now, people fear this. They say, well, what happens if somebody leaves? Well, if they leave because you're telling them the truth, you have nothing to lose. But here's what I find happens well over 90% of the time. The customer lightly objects and say, do you really think it'll be tomorrow before you get in the shop? Yes, I do. I'd rather tell you right now what you need to hear in the realistic situation than make promises I can't meet and only make you mad later in the day. Expectations, expectations, expectations. It eliminates heat. It makes things flow smoother. And there is no brain damage at the end of the day. You can't add more technicians out of air. You can't add more time to the day. The situation is what it is. Now, I know I'm harping on this, and I've harped on it here for the last several minutes, but this is the key. If in the summer months you go home feeling overwhelmed and you feel like there's brain and you're never going to get caught up and you see your numbers plummet, number 2 right here, expectations, 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 expectations. If you set the customers up with realistic expectations, they don't get mad, nobody gets upset, there's no heat, and guess what else happens here? You're looking at your long-term step number 1, your sales penetration doesn't drop off, people buy what they need, their cars run better, they're happier, you get the survey score, if they give you the survey score, they're coming back, you get customer retention. Now, so again, step 1, look at the long term, and then number 2, expectations, expectations, and then number 3, all right, I'll get to in a second because I want to tell you about this. I've got some workshops coming up, folks, and you got to get signed up for them. Now, these workshops, the first one doesn't even happen until September, and guess what? They're already 60% sold out, a couple of months away. The last one that we're doing this fall that we've got on the schedule right now, November, already 60% sold out. I'm going to Toronto. I'm going to Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm going to Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to deliver my 6-step road to service department success. I'm personally teaching this. You want to be there. I'm going to show you how to get your customer retention above 85% within 9 to 12 months. I'm going to show you how to get perfect, yes, I said perfect survey scores. And I'm going to show you how to get an instant 5/10 on your service drive when you go back from attending my workshop and put into practice what I recommend. I'm going to show you, if you're not already above 2.5 hours per repair order, including oil changes, how to do that. Because I've yet to step on a service drive anywhere in the United States of America, name your place, name the location, name the situation, that's not capable of at least producing the numbers I just said. I will get your people inspired. I will get them sold on the process. I'll get get them excited, I will get them trained, and I will give them and you a skill that will last you and support you the rest of your life. If you're going to be there on a service drive all day long, why wouldn't you want to maximize the opportunity? You come to one of these workshops and I will show you and I will show your staff how to maximize that opportunity and secure your future. I also have a book here called Right Service, Write Your Own Paycheck, The Path to Getting to $100,000 in Income. Get this book. There's a video program that supports it. Call me up and I'll show you how to get that. You say, call you where? Call me at 1-800-248-2931. Again, 1-800-248-2931. Anybody that picks up that phone can get you signed up for that program, get you registered for one of these workshops, and they can even talk to you about us visiting you on your service drive and getting you and your staff trained. We're real deal. Stop playing around. Make this happen. Now, if you're an advisor, listen to this, and your service manager, your dealer owner, or your business owner doesn't want to send you because for whatever reason, I will not let money keep us apart. You call me up, and if you're going to write your own personal check, use your own personal credit card to send me your personal cash, I will make sure you get registered for any of these products you want. If you don't want to call us, go to automotiveservicetraining.com, automotiveservicetraining.com. All the information's there. Back to the podcast. Now, I told you we got summer going on. This causes a lot of heat for people, a lot of anxiety because there's a big influx of work, big influx of people, and everybody goes crazy. I've explained to you the first 2 steps of my 3-step program. Number 1, look at the long term. Don't shortcut your process just because there's more people. It takes what it takes to repair a car. If a car needs something, you need to explain in great detail exactly what it needs and sell it to that customer so they stay happy and want to come back. Number 2, how do you stop the heat? How do you stop the brain damage? How do you stop all the things that causes all the chaos? Set the expectations, 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 expectations. You have any questions about this, call me. I'll walk you through it because I'm doing this real fast. All right, and then number 3, all right, guard your time off. I know it's summer, there's a lot going on, you're pulled in a lot of different directions, the sun stays up until 9, 10 o'clock, you got all these activities and all these friends that want you to do things, but guard your time off. This is the time for you to make money, this is the time for you to show how good you are. Guard your time off. Don't not miss out on a bunch of stuff, but be very careful, and I'm a perfect example of that. Tonight, my wife wanted me to meet her and some of her friends at a local place at 4 o'clock for some drinks and to watch the sunset over the water and all that stuff. And I'd love to go. There's no place I'd rather be. But you know what? If I went and did that, I would pay for it tomorrow. And my customers would pay for it tomorrow. This is our busy season, too. I've got to be here for them. I would never miss an important event. But events like that, that's for another day. All right, so again, real quick, here's the solution to do this influx of business. Look at the long term. Don't shortcut your processes. Do what you know you need to do to make sure these customers get what they need and they're happy. Number 2, expectations, expectations, expectations. Don't promise stuff you can't deliver. Tell them exactly what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. Let them decide. And then number 3, guard your time off so that when you get there, you're fresh, you're ready to go, you're excited. People love you. They buy service from you. They give you perfect survey scores. They come back. You get the retention. You get the commission, and you live the life you want. Hey, this is Jeff Cowan with my podcast, Right Service, Write Your Own Paycheck, The Path to Making $100,000 a year. Thank you for joining me. Between now and next week, go out and do the best job you can because between now and next week, that's exactly what I'm going to do. See you soon and enjoy your summer. Take care.